What else did I listen to this week? Well, what I also got into was Logic. I listened
Okay.
to Logic. I
I
gave
haven't
that
finished that. I haven't finished that album.
I gave that Logic album a listen.
How you
You
feel
know,
about it?
so here's the thing with Logic, and I think a lot of people will share my sentiment. I was really big on Logic when he first came out. When he first came out, I was like, man, I'm digging what he's like, the albums that he's putting out, the concepts that he has for his albums. Like those first two were really good to me, and then and I really felt like he was coming into his own with those. Right, it really kind of I could understand who Logic was as an artist and as a person. Right, then I think he dove off the deep end kind of in that third album, and kind of subsequently just kind of as he kept going. Um, just with the what he was putting out, I think it just became so much about I'm biracial, and so much about just like having to clearly state that in his identity in every album, to where I think if you're not that, then it turns you off to it. But also, I think everything started to become very repetitive with him, and very it was the same approach to the album, the same approach to, even conceptually, it felt very similar to what it was fresh the first time you did it. Then after you do it like three times, I'm kind of over it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was back in 2014, 2015, and then 10 years later, I'm listening to Ultra 85, which again, if I would have got that album back then, I would have thought it was the best thing since fucking you know Kendrick or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Say it would have been a totally different way of me receiving it.
Mm-hmm.
But because I received it with my 2024 brain, and again, having gone through this whole process with Logic, um, I really just found myself just wishing he would have been more selective with what he was putting out. Right? Because all in all, I will say that this album is pretty good. It's pretty good in terms of at least production, and again, getting back to the I think what worked for him when he's in the space of, again, doing what he loves to do, which is make these conceptual albums about space and about just really using his creativity. I think that's the pocket that he needs to be in because it works for him, right? But when he gets to I think anytime he steps out of that, I think you see that the quality is just not there for what he's trying to do, right? So again, the space that he was in this album was, okay, I'm taking you to outer space. I'm taking you on this journey that I've already kind of introduced to you, and for the loyal fans, they're gonna love it because it's really just like a crowd pleaser in that sense. I'm really giving you what you've been asking for such a long time, right? And anybody who's coming back to listen to me, okay, I'm in this pocket that really works for me. So what you're gonna hear from me is a lot more passion, right? I can hear a lot more of that instead of kind of just complying with uh, getting things out just to get it out. I don't know if you're trying to complete like an album requirement on a contract or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it was, but that's what it felt like for me with Logic, right? So, shout out to Logic because I did think, he got back again into his pocket of, having that passion again, having that drive, being able to really put out something that felt like it was thought out, felt like it was close to his heart and close to what he wanted to do. Again, the production on there, I think the credits go to him and go to Six for the most part, and they are always together. But um, because he gave himself the boundaries of like, I'm gonna match this sound that I once did, um, maybe that's why it felt fresh again for me. But I will say, so much time had passed to where I'm probably not receiving it as like how I would have when I was younger,
Yeah.
and being like, "Oh,
Yeah.
did you listen to the Incredible True Story? That album was
That
amazing."
album was amazing.
Right? And now I'm like, take a listen to Ultra 85. You might find some tracks you like on it, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah, I got you.
ultimately, that's what I came away with. Um, I'll say that I think I realized how I really felt about Logic when I felt like, can he just go away? And then when he did go away for a little bit, I didn't miss him, right? And I think that said a lot to me.
Can you believe motherfuckers was saying he was better than Kendrick Lamar back when Incredible True Story came out? Can you believe that was the
Yes,
narrative out
I
there?
can I can believe it because I can believe how people just get like, they get hyped up to see something that feels closer to them. So if you're talking about like white kids that are just like, yo, but he's into all the things that I'm into, and he loves anime and all, like, and then so they feel like they can more closely relate to him, and they're like, and he's rapping just like Kendrick, and it's like, well, that's kind of the problem too. It feels like it's a little too close to Kendrick to where you're just copying him, if anything, right? And he got a lot of that criticism over time. And at the time, I probably wasn't as receptive to it because I was in it. I was like, yeah, no, I fuck with him. Like, I think he's yeah, he could really be the next one or whatever you want to say. But now, obviously having those glasses come off, be able to be a grown up and fucking consume this music, and that, I can go back to, what was it called? Under Pressure, whatever it was called.
His first one?
His first one, yeah. I can listen to that one and I can hear the elements of like, okay, Kendrick just came out a year ago.
Yeah.
And I can hear that he had a lot of influence on you.
Yeah.
In this album. Right? So I think, he lost me as I got older and more wiser to music. He lost me there, and this project again, I gave it a fair shot. I definitely don't hate it. I'll probably give it another listen through just because I want to be able to really fully form my opinion because it's so fresh. I did want to mention it. Because again, it was something back in the day we used to talk about. It'd be like
Logic's fire.
Logic's fire, right?
Yeah,
and then
fire. Yeah.
And then we were kind of like, what's going on with Logic?
Yeah, so I got off of Logic on that first Bobby Tarantino shit. I was like, this is not what I want. This is not what I go to you for.
Right.
But I'll say this.
Yeah.
Just about that whole I'm biracial thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I heard him say it once, right? And I was like, okay.
I get it.
So you're biracial. I didn't listen to Logic's first album. The first album I consumed was The Incredible True Story. So that's the first album I actually listened to Logic. And then I went back to listen to the other stuff. So him saying nigga was like not a question that I needed answered because I came like when his first project that took him off was out.
Yeah.
That he was able to take off on, right? So having to address your biracial all the time.
Right.
I don't ever want to police how people experience blackness. Right. I have friends who are biracial, and one of the people in my life who's biracial, I don't even look at her biracial, and she's legit half and half.
Yeah.
She's black as fuck.
Yeah.
So it's not even a question in my mind. I don't care about that shit.
Right.
But if you feel like you need to address it, then it's because, to me, it's because you probably shouldn't be saying nigga. Like that's how I feel. If you feel like you got to address it like that, then you should just probably not say nigga and just move on with it, right? Like,
because there's some reason.
Because there's some reason
you're continuously feeling like this. Right.
Because there's a lot of biracial people out there. If Steph Curry said nigga to me tomorrow, I'd be like, what's up, nigga? Like, that's how, like, I don't give a fuck about that, right? Or shall I say Klay Thompson, right? Or whoever, right? Like, I'm not going to be like, I'm not going to be like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Logic. Like, if he when he first came out, I might have been like, what the fuck?
Like,
but she was like, oh, my dad's black. I'm like, okay, well, all right. All right, but yeah, it's like, all right, well, just be careful out here, nigga. Like that's
get out of jail free card. What is it? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
okay, so we're gonna talk about this for a second, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna bring up a name that's kind of controversial.
Okay.
And I'm gonna stand on this. I was talking to the homie.
Yeah.
Okay. Patrick Mahomes. Okay.
Oh,
he's
God.
legit. He is legit. Half black, right? Like there is no question.
But he sound like Kermit the Frog.
It's not even that he sound like that. If he said nigga to me in his Kermit the Frog voice, I'd have been like, okay, whatever.
Whatever.
The problem I have
Yes.
with Patrick Mahomes is his wife is white. For all intent and purposes, his kids are white.
Yeah.
They're now a quarter black.
Yeah.
His kids definitely can't say nigga to me.
Okay.
Right? Like that is tried and true. Like, nah, they come over here. If I see these little quarter black kids
Yeah.
who got blonde hair and blue eyes or hazel eyes, whatever they look like.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're beautiful children.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pat and his family. I don't want there's no ill will here.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, Pat's not out here living a life where I feel like if he said, "What's up, nigga," to me, that I'd be like, okay. I'd be like, look, Pat, I'm not here to say you can't. I'm just, could you please not say it to me? That's what I'm saying, right?
Say it to your friends.
Yeah, say it. Yeah,
Don't
like
say it
let
to
them.
me.
Don't say it to me. And if
Yeah.
you say why, I'd be like, because you probably live somewhere where it's very white,
Yes.
like with a capital H,
Yeah.
right? So you raising a nice white family, lovely white family.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
That's just not where you at.
You know. Yeah. No.
And that's okay. That's okay. Like, I'm good.
We
So
just gotta be okay with some of these things, right? We just gotta be
just
okay.
gotta be okay. Just gotta be okay. So for Logic, I think Logic's I don't know if he's married or whatever his relationship status was. I think she was white. I'm not sure.
No, she's like white.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when you have to start because niggas is seeing you raise a white family, not
and a white baby, like that baby's
a
white.
white baby, and then you on the rap talking about nigga. It's just like, okay, so now you are weaponizing the word nigga to validate your blackness.
Yes.
You're not just being black.
Right.
You're saying I am black because I can say nigga because I'm black.
Right.
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 Instead of just being black and saying nigga, those are two very different things.
Right.
So I think that's the beef that a lot of people have with Logic is like, if you don't just, getting back to the music, if you don't just make music, and if you had just been sliding in there and you had just been like taking a picture with or showing pictures of your dad with you know what I mean? Because I know there's some like parent dynamic according to him, right?
Yeah.
So if you had been just putting it out there that similar to Drake, I have a black dad. I spend time with my black dad. I do this with my black dad. You know what I mean? And everything.
Right.
So, but that's what Kendrick was saying. Kendrick said it best.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, ain't even got to be deep, I guess. Some shit is just cringeworthy. Logic, that's where you were.
Yeah. He's in that space.
You were
just cringe and
just cringe.
It's like, you're doing it more for yourself than anyone else. And
it was turning people off of his music.
Yes.
It was turning people off of his music.
Yes.
But the Bobby Tarantino stuff is what I was just like, I appreciate that he made those albums and they were specifically that. But I was like, I don't go to you for that. I went to you for The Incredible True Story.
Yeah.
I went to you for that style of rap and the few projects that preceded it.
Right.
Like, that's where you're making your name. And then you're like, okay, rap is here. I want to make this album, and I'm not here to say people shouldn't do what they should do. I'm just here to say, like, that's when I was like, okay, well, then go do that shit. I don't want to listen to it. And one of the Bobby Tarantino projects, I was like, oh, this isn't bad. It was okay.
I think the second one was probably the best one, I would think.
What's the one with Indica Badu on it?
I think it was the second one.
Okay, that's the one that I was like, okay, this isn't bad.
Yeah.
But I just stopped listening to him. To your point, like, I just stopped listening to his music. He would have the drops. I would listen for a second, and I'd be like, whatever. I don't care.
And then it just got so in the zone where I was just like, okay, you're doing all the stuff that. I've always tried to think about how I would put like how and why I got turned off the Logic, besides the cringeworthy stuff that was going on with the biracial qualification. I qualify as black, whatever you want to say, right? Like, I was thinking of the Dave Chappelle skit. The black congregation was like
the black delegation.
Yeah, there you go. And then, but it was like
the black delegation would like to take.
We is black delegation. Shoot Tiger Woods.
Shout out Mose, bro. Oh my god.
Hell yeah. And we not drafting Logic. If we got to pick, we ain't drafting Logic for sure. 100% we ain't drafting Logic. But I mean, this project, if we go back to talk about this project, I agree 100% with you. Had he released this project 10 years ago, it would have just been okay, Logic is keeping on. It would have been a nice follow-up project to what he did.
And we would have felt like, oh yeah, like he's just he's following through, he's keeping it going.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing his thing, and he's doing it, and he leveled up in it, right? Because I do think it's a level up from the Incredible True Story, but 10 years later, and again, it's just too little, too late, or however you want to put it, and it's not servicing me anymore. He lost fans like me, right? In the process of kind of getting there, if it took him that long to get to be able to put this album out, then I understand to some degree. But you just have to face the facts that like you lost people along the way. Like I wasn't looking for a 7-minute track with you and Eminem. I don't know. It just wasn't me, Like
I'm done listening to 7-minute Eminem tracks. Like Eminem, you start making these motherfuckers 3 minutes, 30 seconds
please,
to get
bro.
the fuck out of here. I don't want to listen to you rap.
Stuff,
yeah, I don't want to
come
listen
on.
to you once in a while. Fine, like I can admit, like Rap God, I listened to that for a little bit, but I don't want to listen to that shit. I also don't want to hear about this being your last rap. Stand on it. If it's gonna be your last album, then make it your last album and don't
Please.
come out with albums.
Please.
Shit. But don't keep saying it's my last album and then keep fucking dropping albums, nigga. Like
Yeah,
I don't
come
care.
on,
I don't
bro.
care.
Like I just please.
So I
You know?
really only listened to this album. I don't know why I listened to it actually.
Yeah, what did you listen to?
I started listening to it and I was like, why the fuck am I listening to it? But I'm enjoying it. I'm 9 songs into it and I'm like, okay, this is actually pretty good.
Again, to the point that I was making earlier, like I would have loved it back in 2016 or whatever, and now listening to it, I can give it a fair shot, right? I will always try to give it a fair shot, but again, I have all this experience of what I went through with Logic.
You got some PTSD.
Yeah, I got
there.
some PTSD to where I'm just like I'm not gonna be out here standing 10 toes on like, nah, Logic album was fire, bro. Like I'll just be like, it was cool.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the person that kind of ruined it for me. Right.
What if I said it like this? So I think Logic made people mad for different reasons. Because I didn't never get off of Logic for all the racial stuff.
Yeah.
Because I never heard it.
Right.
Because I actually got off of Logic before that. And so thinking about how Logic just like threw away his I don't want to say threw it away, but he definitely like turned his fans off, right?
Yeah.
He did it in multiple ways. For me, he didn't stay true to who he was, right? Like,
Right.
and I was like, these projects are whatever.
Yeah.
I have no idea how they were received. I don't know how they sold. I don't know anything. I'm just saying the way I consumed it, I was like, I don't go to Logic for this shit.
Yeah.
And so then I just stopped listening to his music because then that shit was always kind of weaved into the albums.
Right.
Even if they weren't the Bobby Tarantino albums, it was still kind of in there. And then I was just like, okay, I'm just not enjoying Logic's music. So I left out of I just didn't listen to any projects.
Yeah.
And you were like,
I was like, this shit's corny. Like that's what it came. That's what it came off. It just came off of corny, cringy, and I was just like, I'm over it. Like I can't stand on. Like I'm starting to feel embarrassed. Like I'm embarrassed.
I'm black guys, I swear.
And it's just like, bro, like it's so calm down, right? Like it became a point where I was like, I used to be like, oh yeah, like because I felt like I saw a certain trajectory with him, I was like, cool, like he's gonna become this, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, like Logic's in the conversation for whatever we want to talk about, right? I can have him in any conversation, and now it's like I'm not gonna mention him, like I'm not gonna mention that I went to a concert in 2017. That shit sound like what? You went to a Logic concert? You know what I mean? Like it's just that's
Motherfucker became uncool. That's funny to me.
yeah, he came so uncool, man. Like, and I was right there, right in that like age range for like really being like
Yeah,
what
where it
Logic
needed to be
fans, like,
yeah.
and it was very much just like nah, man, nah. And also, I guess because at the end of the day, I also recognized that what he was doing, I was seeing other people do better and in a more authentic way to themselves, right? I could go to a Denzel Curry for a very creative album or something like that. I could go to people for what he was, the void that he was feeling at the time when I kind of found his music, right? I was like, oh, no one's doing this really. But then I found other people that were doing that, right? Or I could go back to older stuff of other people that had done similar things, right? Similar concept albums in that way, right? So like, you're not the only guy doing it either.
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah.
it's fine. I can.
You definitely didn't do unique enough for you to be missed.
No way. And so that was the thing that I recognized is that one, I wanted him to go away, and then in terms of me leaving like that space and just being like, I'm not even gonna check for Logic. I was like, I didn't really miss the years that I wasn't paying attention. I'm not gonna go back to those albums.
Yeah.
That's really where it's at that point,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's no shade to Logic. It's just a matter of that's just my reality. That was my experience with him, and it was very. I don't know if I shared like an experience with an artist like this so far in our discussions about music, but like that's very much he's one of those artists.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That you like went through this journey. That Logic put you through this journey.
Yeah, for sure.
That's crazy.
Because you remember we used to talk about Logic. I'm like, bro, I love this album. I'm checking for Logic, and now it's like.
So I think this listen of Ultra 85 is better for me because I actually listened to An Incredible True Story this week.
Okay.
And I was like, damn, this song was so good. It's really good.
It's still good.
And then it's still good. Put it on right now. Spin it. Spin it on your way home.
Yeah.
And
please,
then
please.
you know
like,
what I mean. And you'll be like, damn, it's a good album.
Yeah.
And now I'm listening to this. It for me, for my psychology, I was like, let me listen to this album, and then I'll listen to this album, and then it'll play better for me.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, this is a nice follow up. Because that's how I'm choosing to view Ultra 85.
You skipped all the BS that I went
skipped
through.
all the bullshit, and I'm like, this is a nice follow up album to Incredible True Story. You know what I mean? Look at that. So it took him 10 years to get a follow up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I skipped all the bullshit. So I'm hoping. I'm 9 songs in.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good so far. I'm hoping it stays on trajectory for me. And I'm just into the story. As you probably can hear, I like an album that's got a theme, that's got a through line that we're following and stuff like that. I could do an album of vibes, but we don't have to do that anymore because of how music is released. Right. I can create a vibe curated specifically to my liking. So you can't give me a collections of songs because I'm going to be like, I could put this together better myself. Quite frankly, I could arrange your album better. Like, that's how I feel. So, fuck your feelings. I feel like I could have arranged your album better. Childish Gambino.
Hey, shout out to Childish Gambino. He had a feature on that Raven Lene album.
He did have a feature on that
Wave. I like that song a lot. I like that song.
He did. It was pretty good. So I feel like I can curate the album better. And so, or I'll just pick off the songs that I want. Again, when you had to go buy a CD.
Yes.
You were more invested in liking that shit because you just spent your fucking money on it. But now, I'll just pick out the tracks that I don't want. So the reasons that the Party album, the reason that these albums that I'm liking, I'm enjoying this is because they feel like projects that people set down and they're like, this is what I want this project to be about. This is the theme of this album. Right? The Summer Walker shit when she was with London on the track.
Yeah.
I don't remember the name of that album right now. I'll find it while I'm talking about it. That album, she was in love. You can tell.
Oh, yeah.
That album was fucking fire.
You could tell.
That album was fucking fire. Right? Yeah. Summer Walker, you know what she's going through. She's either in love or she's fucking over it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's very apparent.
It's very apparent in her music, and she's very passionate about how she's feeling, right? So, oddly enough, so that album is called Over It, even though she was in it, right? And that was a really good album. And then Still Over It was the exact opposite of the Over It album, right? And I'm just like, I enjoy that I know what the artist is going through.
Right.
When you just dump music out, and I'm just like, okay, I don't know what we're going through here, which is why I'm not vibing with the Childish Gambinos and the like. It's not that I don't like the music. It's like, I don't know what this album is about. This is just a collection of music.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck we're doing here. It's just a group of songs.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening here for me.
Yeah.
So for Logic to come out with this, and there is like the story, like I'm invested in the story, like, okay, so what's going on? You know what I mean? And all the skits and stuff like that are moving through. I'm just like, I'm invested in the story of the album, and that's what makes a really good project to me.
And it has you actively listening to it.
I am
right?
active. I think actively listening.
I can recall the skits on that album already because
Yep.
Some of them are hilarious.
I'm gonna have to upgrade my shit.
I can recount that album so well.
Yeah.
But again, it's like just like Kendrick's album, right?
Yeah.
I can recount that album so well because it plays out like a movie in my head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's these albums where they stick with you for that reason, and they get you to actively listen, and so I don't know. That's the beauty of again having a concept and following through the whole album, and really putting it out in that way, and if you're willing to listen to it that way.
Also, don't if we've learned anything from Logic and Drake,
Yeah.
don't try and litigate your blackness in your music.
No.
That is the quickest way for you to fail.
Yeah.
If you want to prove that you're black, then just be yourself, and either the culture knows you're black, or we're like, you ain't black.
Yeah.
And you just got to do what you got.
You just gotta
just
deal
got to
with it.
do
It's
what you
okay.
got to do,
Yeah.
right?